number. There are other news stories. Believe me, if you don't want to talk about that. There's one that's bothering me a great deal. It's about Hastings, the reporter, whose car blew up. A new Mercedes blew up. Now it's coming out that he drove like an old lady, everyone said. Look, he was a leftist reporter, and I detested his orientation. I detested it when he brought down a great American general named McChrystal. I was always I worshiped McChrystal. I worshiped Petraeus. They were the best we had. They had backbone. They had great histories. And this left-winger brought them down. Nevertheless, he's dead. The reporter is. In a strange incident, about a week ago in L.A., in the middle of the night, he was driving. They said his car sped up, smashed into a tree, and the engine flew out 100 feet from the car in a new Mercedes, and he was burnt in the fire. Well, today I got emails that scared me. Not emails, excuse me. There are websites that are reporting that it's possible for people to take control of your car through the computer system in your car. I didn't know that. I mean, this is pretty frightening. His friend, the guy who died, Michael Hastings, he went on Fox News, and he said the Rolling Stone journalist was working on the biggest story yet about the CIA before his suspicious death, and Hastings drove like a grandma. So they said it would be unlikely he'd be speeding. Then Sergeant Biggs told Fox News that there's something even more weird. And now, look, it's a conspiracy theory, truthfully. But here we go again. Former counterterror czar under two different presidents, Richard Clarke, another left-winger who I never liked politically, told the HuffPost that the fatal crash of Hastings' Mercedes C250 Coupe was consistent with a car cyber attack. He said, so if there were a cyber attack on the car, and I'm not saying there was, I think whoever did it would probably get away with it. And, quote, intelligence agencies for major powers have such capabilities. I had no idea that cars could be remotely hijacked. And yet 2 studies have come out called on this. I mean, there's studies at the University of Washington and UC San Diego on this thing, how it's a relatively trivial exercise to access the computer systems of a modern car and take control away from the driver. This is frightening. And to think I just sold my 65 Cadillac, which was not digital and had no computers in it. I'd pay double for it right now to get it back. Now I'm stuck with a Mercedes that has a computer chip in it. So I'm afraid to get in it. It's liable to turn on me. It's like Frankenstein. Every time I start the engine now of my car, I'm afraid it's like a Frankenstein. I don't know. I may have to buy my old... I am looking at an old XKE that has absolutely no computer parts in it. And the lucky part about buying an old Jag is it probably won't even run. So I'm doubly safe. It has no computer components, and it won't run. But... I mean, aside from that, you know that, again, I'm sorry to tell you, it's a problem for me because I've written 29 books that you know of, and several you haven't. I've covered an awful lot of these things in nonfiction and fiction. Isn't it ironic, strange, odd, prescient that my novel, A Time for War, is all about China controlling? It starts, I swear to God, I swear to you, it starts with the crash of the Navy SEAL helicopter brought down through an EMP blast, right? In the next scene, the FBI agents are trailing somebody, and their car comes to in Chapter 3, the FBI agents are trailing somebody. They're trailing somebody, a Chinese agent who they suspect, and their car is completely neutralized and stops on the highway south of San Francisco because the Chinese agent is able to control their car through a computer that he has in his hand. How did I know that? How is that possible? The man who's not even listened to on the radio. How is that possible that I had that in my book? Yeah, it's in the novel, A Time for War, those of you who read the book. A car driven by FBI agents tailing a suspicious vehicle is mysteriously rendered immobile in San Francisco. Wow. Really? In fiction? How do you like that? Well, that's nothing compared to a reporter having his car speed up and hit a tree. Trivial exercise to access the computer systems of a modern car and take control away from the driver. Well, okay, I think there's going to be a run on pre-70 cars now. Forget Mecum auctions on old cars without computers in them. Do you agree with Trump, or do you think he's political burnt toast? That's the number one question. I don't even know how to pose a question about Hastings' death, because if we get into this, it's all speculation. We have to start saying that now the government is, able to do this, and they're doing it. I don't even know if I want to take that call. KSFO, Greg, you're next up. Your opinion, what's the topic?
Good evening, Michael Savage. Do you remember about a year ago there were several Toyotas that people were having braking and acceleration problems with, where they were suddenly braking full pressure on the brakes, uncontrollable, unexplainable?
What was it caused by? Gas from the sushi bar?
No. I mean, there were several accidents that were caused, and there were lots of uncontrollable situations where people couldn't control their Toyotas. And back when that happened, I remember telling my friends and family, this is probably some kind of malfunction or a beta test of the remote, control that they can have over people's cars. And I never heard of...
Wait, you mean where a master computer was inadvertently doing this to the cars? Is that what you're saying?
Either it was some kind of glitch in the software, or it was some kind of test of the actual, system. That's my theory.
Well, now everyone's going to be rushing out to buy pre-19 what? What year did they start really computerizing cars? I mean, I just unfortunately auctioned off a 65 Cadillac, which I've had for 18 years, 18 years, and the man bought it. I mean, I'm glad he has it, but the car now would be the safest car I could drive.
Safer than a Prius.
I don't drive Priuses, but the thing is any car now with a computer chip can be remotely accessed by it. Let's go science fiction now. A drone flies over your car. You don't even see the drone. And a geek sitting in some, underground bunker in Washington or Tallahassee or, I don't know, says, all right, then computer control. Hey, Mac, get me that pizza. And while your car is in his screen, he's eating pizza and he hits a button. He makes your car go 100 miles an hour. And then he burps and goes to the bathroom. Is that the country you want to live in? You think, is it a funny thing is that the nation you want to live in? Well, you may be living in it. That's what the conspiracy theorists are surmising. Let's go to WABC. Delilah, welcome to the program. What's on your mind, Delilah?
Greetings, Dr. Savage. Thank you for taking my call. It was a hit on Hastings. They can control your car, stop it, and do anything they want to it. Now with the new technology, you have to hold on to your old stuff. I'm sorry you passed your old car away.
I'm sorry I sold my Cadillac. The 1965 had no computer chips in it. I only hope that the NSA will have my car go into McDonald's if I'm hungry and get me a hamburger.
Safe.
Well, no, there's a positive side to this. Think if Big Sister can control our cars, perhaps next they can determine whether we're hungry or we have a need for sex, and they can direct our cars accordingly. We won't even have to think about where to go for a burger or anything else.
No, they'll know everything and be able to tell you everything. Before
you can direct the car. They can direct the car to certain streets in certain neighborhoods, and you won't even have to do anything. They could even honk the horn.
Yes, but there was a program on it shortly that showed it. You had a caller a few back said the same thing. They can stop your car with these.
No, I know that. Look,
digital.
I'm aware that they can. In fact, I have to repeat that in my novel, A Time for War, there's a major scene where I write, a car driven by FBI agents tailing a suspicious vehicle is mysteriously rendered immobile in San Francisco. In my novel, I had the villain, who is a Chinese agent, do it with a handheld device. Little did I know that a few months after the novel will be published, people are now speculating that, well, let us say some entities are now doing this to some journalists in America. This is all over the Internet now, Delilah.
Right. They're actually doing it, Dr. Savage. They can do it. They did a test, and they showed it right on TV.
Oh, no, I know they can. It can be done. Absolutely can be done. In fact, I believe on my website, we link to the I can find it for you and give you the references in the scientific literature demonstrating that it's an easy, trivial task for a computer expert to access any car in America and control it. Now, you're given to conspiracy theories, I assume.
Is 007 come true? James Bond. All the things they used to do, now we're actually living it. It's not fiction anymore. It's real.
So where does that leave everybody? Does that put a chilling effect on journalists, talk show hosts in America under this junta?
No, you're just helping to expose it and bring it to the light.
Yeah, a lot of good that did Mr. Hastings. Well,
yes.
Thank you for the call. Clark's speculation that Hastings' vehicle could have been remotely hijacked is echoed by Salon.com's Andrew Leonard, who cites two studies by researchers at the University of Washington and the University of California, San Diego, quoting now from Prison Planet. accelerator.com, experimental security analysis of a modern vehicle, and comprehensive experimental analysis of automotive attack surfaces. And these studies detail how it is a relatively trivial exercise to access the computer systems of a modern car and take control away from the driver. Unbelievable to me. And frightening. And frightening.